is Sylvia Kusuma. I'm a CF. I am living and also my stuff and my body too in the Netherlands. And we have a bunch of people here partying like woohoo! And one of them is Laleh.
Hi everyone.
And the other one, I hope I can pronounce your name very well. Seda. Yes. And Halina. And and Michaela. So hello. So I was like, I would like to do a Facebook Live, and I was like, oh, who would like to play with me? And Laleh was like very often pops up in my world, and also about like playing with possibilities, especially right now. I mean, in the Netherlands, it's the second evening that's the lockdown. The curfew. So right now, people are not allowed to go on the street for just any reason. And I was like, yeah, just play with the possibilities. And I remember one of my playmates, I want to say that, with Symphony Possibilities is Layla. So I was like, hey, Layla, would you like to play? And she said yes. And also, while chatting with Laleh, her energy, she reminds me every time about what are the infinite possibilities. What are the infinite possibilities? And every time when I read that, when I hear that, I hear her in my voice, in my head, and I was like, yeah, what is it? So, for those who doesn't know, Laleh, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm also a certified facilitator with Access Consciousness and a facilitator of many of the specialty classes within Access, and also a maestro and SAP. And for me, one thing I love about that tool, what else is possible we haven't considered yet, it actually erases everything and opens new doors. So that tool is just one that it doesn't matter how often you say it. It doesn't matter, like you forget it. If you're willing to just tap into that energy of what's that question? Like, oh, what else is possible? It really gives you that other world of possibilities that you've never even imagined. And I know we hear this all the time.
Yes.
We hear it all the time. Ask a question, ask a question, ask a question. But it's not even like getting the correct question. The minute you are willing to not go into your head, which is the algorithms, it's the artificial intelligence of this reality, it's all the virtual vibration realities, you allow you to tap into another possibility. That question is you being the infinite you. You immediately invite the universe to assist you. You immediately invite the elementals to be your partner. So you get out of what's called the relational digitization, which is the separating of the oneness of you into pieces, to actually being oneness, so that you're like, oh, wow, the whole world is here. I am not alone.
Yes.
So that's what I love about it. I love that tool.
That's so beautiful. So about that oneness, it's what is that people would like, I want to be one with someone, I want to be one with especially with someone. And what is that oneness actually? Can you say more about it, or someone else?
We're going from like rocket from 0 to 1 billion.
Yeah.
And we've been on for 2 minutes, right?
Sorry, not sorry.
Never sorry. Well, what's funny is that is actually been one of the biggest lies and one of the biggest distractors, is that we were programmed to think we have to have someone to feel complete. Like one of my favorite movies was Jerry Maguire, and he walks in the room after a traumatic 2 hours together, 2-hour movie. And he says, you complete me, or she said, complete me, whichever one. And that was me. I was like, oh, my romance. No, you are an infinite being. You actually are connected to everything with no point of view. Every molecule in the universe and you is one. And it's those moments that we were brainwashed to think we had to have someone that completes us. Now, on the old track, right, before last January, last February, before the foundation class, it was different. You had to have two people that agreed together to have a reality.
Yes.
So there is this also, like all these trillions of years, we've known we needed someone else was required to validate, justify, agree with you, whatever you want to call it, so that something else could be created. But off the new track, the new world, it's not required. You get to be that leader. You get to go wherever you want to go. You don't have to wait for anyone else. You just have to be willing to trust you and know the universe has your back. And I say that I did this very much. I would do, meaning I would tell you this, but it didn't mean I always believed it myself. I wasn't being it. And I would say the last couple of years, really, there's been so many things within the universe that showed me that through some of the most difficult times of my life, no matter what was going on, I was in Brazil. We had this crazy situation with someone, quote, kidnapping one of our people and all this. And I've got to tell you, the whole time, every tool that is in the Access Foundation, I used. Every freaking tool I had to become, and everything would change. Anytime there was insanity, stupidity, they were doing stupid stuff, it would melt. But the trees in the Amazon were there saying, I've got your back. The rain was like, I've got your back. There was even a butterfly that came swimming, flopping its wings right next to me when it was raining, like when we thought we had to give like ransom money and all this stupid stuff, and everything would change. Yeah. Everything, like literally we would go from like 1 second of craziness to 1 second of, how can we help you? We're here to help you, instead of you are the problem. And I don't know. I've never had that. My life is ease, joy, and glory. I don't create crazy shit like that, And one thing I just realized though is how much that empowered me to know we are never alone. Not just say it, but actually know it and perceive it and receive it. I mean, that day was very much magical in many ways. As difficult as it appeared at the time, it really brought a lot of awareness into my world, that's for sure. And it got people to step up. We had to have people act like infinite beings, not like wimpy, pathetic idiots, like we're not. We act like we are, but we're not. There is nothing pathetic about you. Absolutely nothing. Only those moments you believe the lies, the judgments, the stupidity, and you make them real. You make them more significant than you. But the possibilities, and I want to talk about some things. Dr. Dane here has some classes, the energetic synthesis of being, which is the ESB, and the symphony of possibilities. Those classes really helped me that day. The willingness to be the space, to be that energy, to be that space of really me, and to manipulate with the symphony of possibilities, to alter the molecules.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if anyone else here, I mean, we've got a bunch of powerhouses here. So if anybody else wants to share anything, please guys jump in. But like, I just wonder with what's going on around the world, guys, there's been moments I haven't wanted to get out of bed. Like it's taking me 3 hours in the morning because there's so much information. There's so much awareness. There's so much insanity that we wake up to, that we have throughout the day. And thank God for the access tools and the classes. Like I listen hours and hours of classes to be like, yes, I'm me again, now things have shifted, but like, I know there's a lot of shit going on in the world, but like, what if that stuff can be so in your awareness, but not affect you, and not to put you where your energy crumbles, because that's what the stupid thing wants to do. The artificial intelligence wants you not to be big, wants you not to be the space of you, because you're fucking powerful and you're going to blow up the shit. But when you crumble and you go into being a finite being, that's when it actually affects you. Okay, now I'm gonna just let you
No,
off.
no, go ahead. I was like, the energetic synthesis of being. I like it more when you say it full out, because a lot of people, including me, just say like ESB. But then it's like, what is ESB? But when you say that, like energetic synthesis of being, for me, if I got so often that question, what is it? And I have attended, I'm not saying a lot, but definitely more than 3 ESB classes over the past years. And I was like, I still cannot say what it is. And if
Brain here couldn't tell you what it is, and he's the creator of
yes.
it. How do you describe you walking into a room where you always thought you were all these things, and then you come in a space that's like so welcoming and no judgment, and you get to experience perceiving and receiving energies that remind you all that stuff's not you. It's like the layers of years and decades and lifetimes and whatever, just of who you've been thinking you are, to open you up to this other space of magic that's you. There is no words, because you're beyond words. Like words shrink your energy. The energy is so much more. So it's just one of those classes that when you start to realize you are an energetic being,
Yes,
that has this incredible body, this, like this magic body that we have, this embodiment of earth with our bodies, it's a whole other communion. However, you're bigger than your body. Your body has capacities, you have capacities. Your body has superpowers, you have superpowers. And when this embodiment's there with the earth, it exponentializes the capacities, abilities, talents, and everything else. So like there are no words. I mean, I guess I put some words to it, but
yes,
everyone,
try.
everyone experiences it differently,
Yes.
Like I think I took my first one like in 2014, I think around that time period. And I was scared. I had no idea what I was about to do. Like the energy right before the class was like, ah! And I was like, do I want to take this class? Do I not want to take this class? Do I want to? And it was right after CF class in like Venice or Florence, or I think it was Florence back then, or maybe Venice. I don't remember. And I just was like even like the first day of the class, I was like, where am I? And then day 2, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, you know what I mean? And it's because it's just your self-discovery of you expands and changes, And every single class I've taken since then, I've probably taken 20. I've hosted a lot of ESB classes. Everyone's different. And it's a different space of what becomes available, and the vulnerability of people in the class, the energy they're being, what's out in the world, like the energies are all so different. And yet, for me personally, I've always felt more confident after the classes. I feel more a sense of ease of me and more space and my joy. You know, I'm a very joyful person, and
That's true.
even the definition of joyful is different. Like, my joy is from a different world than where it used to be from, you know? It's not this world's joy. It's a whole other level of joy. So I just wonder, truly, guys, what else is possible? And please, anyone else,
Yeah.
you know, say to.
I have a question, Laleh.
And Sylvia, you too.
You just mentioned regarding the creating before the, no, you said after the foundation, the last foundation from Brazil, the huge one was great. You said, of course, changed a lot of things, changed since then. You mentioned when you agree two people, you know, before two people creates, now changed. This is what I misunderstand. You said that, right? Just right now.
The reality. Yeah, creating a reality. You used to have two people who had to align and agree.
Yes.
Yes, you said is changed. You just, interesting. And I just aware of after this conversation is, usually before I had some friends, I had some, you know, my Access Consciousness friends, colleagues on the phone, we were creating. This one is little past, and I get myself. Interesting, it's, they are not gone, but, you know, time over, maybe it's, you know, it's not, we, this one is changed as well. Maybe related right now, because I was again judging myself. I used to have friends, we go creating on the phones, you know, we have processing, we have asking questions each other, always like me and someone else on the phone. This one changed recently after like 6 or 7 months, I think. I was assuming is maybe related, because now I'm myself. Of course, I'm not myself, but again, we are like all of us, we have space, we contribute each other, but it's, this one is, thank you for sharing this. It's interesting point. Thank you.
And this is, I want to stress this part, okay, guys? When you judge you kill the creations. You invite artificial intelligence. You go back into this reality. So we really have to be aware, because our number one autopilot was to judge ourselves. Humanoids, that's what we do. And this is the thing. We go into this, what am I doing wrong if all my friends went away? Even though I have to say, that usually means you've expanded and you're so much greater, that the energy and usually the points of views you used to match with people has shifted. So, you know, like, I just want to say that, Seda, just because it is so important that we go to interesting point of view. I have this point of view instead of judging ourselves. And it's not something I'm saying like I'm great at, because I judge too, but I'm much faster at it, catching myself, and my body, since the track change, won't allow me to judge me very long, because my body will just show me like a nice kick in the ass. That doesn't work for us anymore. And sometimes it lasts an hour or a day, but like it usually lasts 5 minutes. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, that one. Yeah. Okay. I'm not choosing that anymore. I'm actually choosing to say, you know what? What's right about this?
Yeah. That's what I like and love about Access Tools. It makes you like very fast. Like it was before, I can judge myself for weeks or maybe months without even realizing doing that. And now it's like, wait a minute, what did I just do? Oh, I judge myself. Okay, I've got a choice. Shall I continue judge myself or choose something else, not judging? And that's a choice. So like, yeah, maybe not judging for 10 seconds. And sometimes like, yeah, let's just for more 10 seconds. Okay, enjoy that. Yeah, enjoy. And that's much more fun. That's what everything is, to add more for fun. And it sounds very, maybe very crazy right now. Like, well, yeah, just judge yourself. Why not? You know? But that's,
when you do it from the indulging, okay, you get it out of your system, but you're laughing at yourself. You're not going into compressing your energy, your body, and your being. Okay. That's the difference. Because when you compress, you actually allow more of the insanity of this reality to come in. But when you allow you to actually expand and be more space, you allow you to be aware of the insanity, but it doesn't have to affect you anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I do like, oh. So let's talk about how we met. I mean, like from the, I don't know how long it was, like maybe it was 2014, 2015 or something. We met and we swapped a lot of SOP together. I remember that you were living in the United States back then. And sometimes in my morning, just before you sleep, we swap, or the way around. And so that means that I could see your, the progress, because we're still playing with access tools, both of us. And you're so much more space, and it's so amazing to see you much more open up. And also like really like playing with the possibilities. So is that I want to say, is that Symphony of Possibilities? No, it's what do you get from Symphony of Possibility, by the way?
Well, I don't think it's one thing. I'm allowing more of me.
Yeah. Is he frozen, or it's just me? Oh, she's frozen.
Oh, wait, am I frozen?
Yeah.
All right. See, I have so much energy. My internet's like, what the hell are you doing to me right now, bitch?
You had more of you, and then it was frozen.
Well, that's so funny. But that's actually, yeah. Are we willing all to just expand and just add more space? More space, more space. And if you have any walls and barriers, would you guys be willing to just lower them and let them go into the earth? And then add more space. So how much space can we in our bodies occupy to have total ease with technology? Cool. Yeah, what I was saying is I just perceive that it's more of me also allowing me to be me, and me includes more joy, includes more space, includes more of this like energy, right? And so the more I do include SOP. I'm doing a lot of SOP sessions every day. The Symphony Advanced Practitioner program I'm part of as well, and the Maestro, and like I include it. And one thing Dane was talking about, Dr. Dane here today, he actually said, guys, are you willing every morning when you wake up to allow you to actually do this ESB SOP energy on yourself for 3 to 5 minutes before you get out of bed? And I do. I talk to my body. I talk to the businesses. Like I have a whole ritual in the morning that doesn't look the same, but it includes me not getting out of bed until I do certain things, And it is. I love the planet. I love trees. I talk to the birds, I talk to things. And so like that is more included in my world.
Yeah.
And the willingness to be more of us, I'm a being UCF, and every day I have no idea what that means because there's no destination. Like I have no idea who I'm going to be tomorrow. I just know today there's certain things I've chosen today, and I'm just asking for infinite possibilities. And when we are willing to be like, choose, like every day I have to choose. I'm going to choose happiness today. I'm going to choose my life's going to be ease, joy, and glory. And I'm going to choose, I'm going to receive judgments, you know, and I'm not going to let anyone be more vital, valuable, and real than me. Because these are things I have let happen in my life and lost myself. I felt like pieces of me were being cut off, you know? And even like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, there were moments I was like, what's going on? And just asking the questions. And I realized in my business, like where I started to make certain things and certain people so much more important and so much more vital. So we were creating the business based on them and their viewpoints instead of the business's viewpoints. The business has its own consciousness. I'm not the business is not me, but we create together. And when we give the business permission, like, are we willing to do ESB, SOP energies on the business?
Ooh.
You know, every day, invite that into your life.
Yeah.
What would that be like? Are you willing to do SOP, ESB energy on your bank account? Do you guys know? Yeah, but do you perceive that? Like your bank account just said,
Suddenly.
yes, you just set me free, you bitch. You've been holding on to me. You've been locking me up. I want to have more money, and you're not letting me have more money. Like it is, like it's so like, you know, there's a woman, Emmy from Tokyo. I adore her. She's just the cutest thing on the planet. A couple of years ago, she did SOP on a lottery ticket, and she won. I don't know the exact amount. It might have been $10,000 or something. I don't know how much she got, but she got some, like, not just like one yen or 10 yen or 100 yen. Like she actually got like substantial amount of money. And it is like these tools, they could be what you allow them to be. If you're only allowing it to be like, I ask a question because I'm a robot and today I'm going to be a robot. Well, you're going to get the robot. No, they'll still work on you. Don't worry. You could still be a robot if you want to be. But like, if we're willing to be the tools and the energies and invite that to every aspect of our lives, what else is possible? What else can we choose? What else can we create? And I'm going to read something to you guys that I sent to my friend Dagmar earlier. I love Gary Douglas. You know, Gary, from day one when he created the bars, he's been telling us, choose. You have to choose. And we hear it, choose. It's like, but Gary, don't you have a clearing for me? Choose.
Choose.
And you know what? I don't know that until the COVID, I don't know. I used to think I thought what choosing was about. And I know I've chosen my whole life, but it wasn't until the COVID that I perceived maybe 1% of what he's inviting us to, you know?
Yes.
But he says, ask a question to know what to choose. Even if you say what else is possible. Choose to become aware. Choose to see what is possible. Acknowledge and be grateful for the many possibilities. Gratitude allows the quantum entanglements to contribute.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful again.
So we are grateful for tonight, this Facebook Live we just created, Laleh and Sylvia.
Thank you. Yeah.
You guys for being here, and all of you guys that are watching this now or later, like, this is not me, this is not Gary, this is not Dane, this is us. This is the kingdom of us. Everything that's been created on the planet is now available to each of us. But until you ask, until you choose, you won't give you permission to receive. And the laws of the universe, if you do not ask, you will not receive. And instead, daggards. So no one can give you something you're not asking for.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've tried that. It was not a pretty sight. I did that with my mother, my sister, my ex-husband. Like, yeah, I learned very early on that doesn't work. Just because you're choosing doesn't mean they're choosing. And we have to be an allowance of everybody else's choice.
It's funny that I realize right now during our conversation that ESB and SOP, they both can contribute to that, to what you ask, what you like to create. Like ESB is like much more of you being you, the space of you, just allow bigger, 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 more, so that you can allow to be yourself or choose to be much more yourself every day. And the symphony of possibilities, just let you are just like that I forgot the name of the things. You can just like asking all the molecules to contribute to you what you would like to create in your life. My gosh, this is amazing. It's just like I had like the aha moment.
How does it get better? And what if that's one of the possibilities?
Yes, just one.
Because then the minute you define it,
Yeah.
you limit what it can be. So that's one of the awarenesses, one of the magic, but SOP is ESB.
Yes.
It's just if you take an ESB class, Dane is the facilitator. He works on people, he talks to people, and you're getting the energy. Where in an SOP class, you're partnered with people and you're performing and being those energies of ESB in a symphony way that you share with others. So it's, or not even with others, with you and the world and the universe, you know, it's not a limited, but one of the reasons, if you guys even have taken body classes, you know, when I was on the body team years ago, Gary would actually give you the body process and like a paragraph of content, or maybe like MTVSS has like 3 pages of content from classes, right? But he stopped.
Yes.
Because when you go to limit, I mean, when you go to define, you limit the magic of the possibilities, of the energies. Like, do you guys know that with the demolecular manifestation, molecular demanifestation, which is in the foundation book, you could do that in your bank account. You could do it in removing things physically out of your water, out of your body. You could do it out of your life. You could do it out of your head. Like, if you are willing, every one of these energies has infinite possibilities. What would you like to choose? And the more you give it no definition, the more it can show you other ways to have magic with it, you know?
I love this. I love this, really. Oh, it's amazing. So
I would like to add something about receiving, with also receiving from SOP. It's like when you talked about SOPing, you know, your business, and so I'm doing that like every day. And I also at some point started to do SOP on the earth every day. So that's basically how I start. That's the first thing I do. I always ask the earth, so if you can have anything out of this, what would it be? And it's so beautiful because I always perceive an energy. So she is simultaneously gifting me an energy that I can receive. And that made me aware of that all the time when I do SOP, I'm simultaneously receiving something. So what can we receive from when we ask that same question to our bank accounts or businesses or bodies or the universe? Because I'm kind of SOPing the whole universe as well. It's like everything that wants to have SOP, it's going to have SOP. So yeah.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is what contribution is.
yes.
It is the gifting and receiving. And there's nothing in access that is not. You start with bars. It's the first gifting and receiving simultaneously. You do body processes, gifting and receiving. You ask questions like Helena and I, we adore each other. And every once in a while we're like, who wants to do a swap? And then her and I kind of match up. And today, this morning, we spent probably an hour and a half just asking each other questions. While we're asking questions, I'm asking her a question and she's facilitating her body and her life, but then it's facilitating me and my body and my life. And so like, even the asking of questions, even here, guys, you and your bodies, and even if you're not watching live, you're watching later, your future you is contributing here. We're contributing to each other because that is what we be. It's those moments where you go into this reality's way of the linearness, the judgments, the problem, the lies, and whatever, that you actually take the infinite you into what's called that relational digitization, which splits you into particles instead of the wavelength that you be, the quantum wavelength, you go into these particles. So that's why you feel alone, because those are the moments that you are choosing not to be part of the oneness of the universe. Now, we don't need to get into all of it, but it was an implant, it was a stupidity thing, but you can just let it go. Just destroy and create anywhere you've aligned and agreed, resisted and reacted to relational digitization. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all night, shorts, boys and beyond. It'll go away. You just have to choose that you are choosing to be an infinite being and be that infiniteness. That's the oneness. Okay. It just starts with your choice.
Also, that's another thing I think maybe that's a contribution to talk about. So when I took my first SOP class, I remember that Dane was saying like, so whatever you perceive when you give a session, it's not yours. And it got me, it was like such a huge awareness for me because I was so highly aware of everything and I thought everything is mine. And from that moment on, when I started to give SOP sessions, I knew none of that this is mine. And it actually turned into a contribution to change things for me, for the person or being I worked on, and simultaneously. So that was like, for me, that totally changed so much for me, like just being aware of that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, I have a flip side of that story. My whole life, I thought I was a thinker. Like some of my greatest ideas, I was the best at coming up with solutions that no one else thought about. And I used to think it was my logical mind. So I used to think that was one of my superpowers, was my logical mind. And we were in Maestro a couple of years ago. And there was this gentleman, he wanted to do a session with me. You know, we swap in Maestro as well, like SOP. And it was so interesting. Like he was so excited. He had so much expectation. And for a while, like I didn't even want to do a session with him because like his energy, I was just like, I don't know. I mean, like I'm usually okay with a lot of energies, but it was almost like the future was talking to me and letting me know stuff. And I was like, okay, if I have a session with him, does that create or decay my future? It creates. Okay, creates greater. Let's go. Because you want to ask, you want to ask whatever you're choosing, is it going to decay or create your future? And so I did a session on him first because I just knew, like, I was like, okay, let me do this first. Let's kind of chill out here. And then when it was his turn, I was excited, but I was like a little worried. And I was like, okay, so I'm just laying there and he starts talking to me. And during the SOP, like, it's best sometimes you talk if it's required, but usually it's that space that you give someone. So there's not a lot of talking. And he was like, will you please? I don't even remember what he said, but he started impelling shit like on me of like, I'm not receiving, I'm not open, like all this stuff. I just, in my head, I just was like, I'm killing you right now. I am killing you. You are dead. This was my first session that I was like this, because it's usually like, oh, I'm peaceful and everything is so wonderful. And anyway, he talked a lot during nonsense during this session, and then we were done. He's the first person I didn't even want to hug after a session. And then we always talk about how did your sessions go and stuff. And I was like, this one, I'm asking a freaking question because it's just like a fire under my butt. So I raised my hand and Dane says, okay, you know, what's your question? And I'm just like, I'm telling him that the whole time he was working on me, I couldn't stop thinking. I couldn't stop thinking of like all this stuff. And Dane was like, Laleh, let me ask you a question. Who did that belong to? And I was like, what the fuck? I'm in Maestro. I've been a Maestro for years. What do you mean? Who the hell does that belong to?
That's not a Maestro question, Dane.
That's a question from like a long time ago. No, I'm just kidding. That's number one best question in the world. I'm just trying to be funny because I get this is so serious and I'm trying to add some comedy here. But no, but like he asked me and I realized not only was that not mine, but all the time that I was like, how come every tool and access works for me except the one of the head fuck, you know, like the one that head tripper, but I'm constantly head tripping. And then he asked me a question about my childhood, actually when I was a baby. And I started to cry because he opened my world to how much of a psychic I be. And that truly, like, you know how it doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the other person. In this case, it was me laying down and it belonged to him, where usually the person who's lying down, you're aware of their world, right? So like, what are you blaming yourself for? What are you thinking hasn't changed in your life? Is it your finances? Is it your, I mean, even with finances, whatever's going on, who does that belong to? Because when it's yours, you tend to get rid of it fast. But when it's not yours and it belongs to someone else, you're trying to change something that isn't yours. The awareness is yours. The point of view may not be yours. And that day, can I tell you guys, like, and I usually care about not hurting other people's feelings and all that stuff. And that day, I really didn't care. I really needed to get this resolved. And I realized this guy, he's awesome. He's amazing. But 5 or 6 other women stood up to the fact in other sessions he'd done with them, he'd done the same shit. So, you know, when I got the green light, this was going to create greater in my life, it didn't mean it was going to be easy. But it meant the awareness I would receive would create greater in my life. Because a lot of times we think awareness, it's easy. Well, sometimes it is. It is ease, joy, and glory. Well, that turned to ease, joy, and glory in other parts of my life. That moment of that session, I would not have described it as ease, joy, or glory. But it opened it up and he became aware of what he was doing. And he's so different now. You know, he's an incredible being that I would totally have a session with today. But consciousness created that. We both got awareness. And there was 200 people in the room, 188 people or something. They all got the awareness. That awareness was now out in the world for anybody else who wanted it. So it's not, I think sometimes we take it personal. It's not personal. It's just that you happen to be the talking mouth of consciousness at that moment.
Yeah, and also contributes for so many people. Usually when you're in the class, when someone asks a question, and this is amazing. This is one of an examples that this is really amazing. Oh my gosh, I have no clue how long we talk now. I'm looking at the clock now. I know how long we talk. Oh my gosh. Okay, so is there any questions before I just run out? Someone else would like to add something? I can't see the Facebook, so I'm not quite sure. If you watch this like right now or maybe late in the future, and you were like, oh, there's a question I would like to ask, just pop, like one of the messages. So I think we're all happy to contribute to reply to questions. And something else, someone else would like to add? Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I would like to add about, we talk about ESB and SOP. There are the classes is coming up. And for those who was thinking about like, yeah, I would like to attend that and cannot understand English or not sure, just ask for translation. I mean, like Halina is German translation, and I'm from the for the Dutch translation, and Mihaela is right now translating. Amazing. Not sure which language, I forgot. It doesn't matter.
Speaking Romanian right now.
Romanian, wow.
She speaks consciousness, you know. She speaks
Yes.
many languages, but
Many
right now she's translating to Romanian because
Yeah.
she's so magical that way.
Yes, she is. Yeah. So
But
the classes. Oh, yeah.
Sylvia, can I add
Yeah.
one more thing in there? You know, it's funny. I know that we've all been doing different things online the last year because that's just what's been required due to different situations in different countries. And I used to hear, I don't hear it as much anymore, but I used to hear people say, no, these are the classes I want to take in person because I know I'm not going to receive as much. But I'm going to ask you to ask your body that as a question, because these days, it doesn't even matter these days. Any class with Dane too, you know, he's always included. I've taken many ESB and SOP classes live. I've taken many online. I've never perceived a difference, if that makes sense. The only difference is like when you're actually in person, someone may touch you, but even online, you perceive the energy touching your body. So it's almost like somebody is touching you. So, you know, if you have questions about that, please feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah.
You know, I've been working with the stream team, the video class team and the stream team for many years. If you have any questions about online for me or Sylvia or Helena or anybody, but the best is for you to ask a question.
Sure.
And allow your body to guide you. You know, when it's light, it's telling you yes. And when it's heavy, it might be saying that it doesn't apply to you, you know, it might be alive for you, or just it doesn't resonate for you. So just be in the question for that. If I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? And if I don't choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? And see which one creates greater for you. Will this create or decay my life is one of my favorite questions.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for adding that up. And is it also possible to have a pop, probably mini pops for many, many countries right now, but it is possible to have a pop?
Yeah, both classes have pops. I'm not sure the deadline for the pop, but I think you're still good. And, you know, one of the things is that follow your knowing for your country. You know, like Portugal last week went into complete lockdown. Before that, we could do some things with certain curfew hours or certain days were locked down, but they actually went into full lockdown. So for me to have someone, it wouldn't work here. But there's some countries it would. And 6 months ago, I totally would have, because we had more flexibility. So just know every country has its own rules, and you trust your knowing.
Yeah. Yeah. The ESB is next weekend, 29th of January until 31. So indeed ask questions about that. And SOP is 25th of February until 28th. Yeah. So it may changes in your country, but then it may not. Just asking, indeed, like ask questions about your body, what would your body like, and maybe other questions too, and go for it. I really love that. Like create or decay.
Something. May I add something? My last SOP was in Istanbul. Dane was here, and I was somehow I would like to take a class, but I can't. I would like to, but it was something like something, and I keep question, like Laleh mentioned, to how if I choose this 5 years later, 50 years later, 10 years later, decay or increase my life. Sometimes what I realized, if I want to create bigger, because it is going to create bigger, I'm afraid to go to that class. That I realized. And sometimes something gonna create very big, or your space is going to be more, sometimes we block ourselves just before that. If we just one step up, it's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
So that happened my last SOP, I could say, the people when they choose.
That's beautiful. And if you like a resistant, and then maybe you're just like, okay, I'm going to pee in my pants. That's okay. Just grab another pants. So yeah.
Okay, so what did we get out of this Facebook Live? If you pee in your pants, just change your pants. Okay, that's it. That's
it.
the short of our
I already chose those 2 classes. I'm going to translate them. So how does it get any better than that?
Bring on the Germans. Go back. Okay.
Yeah, so thank you everybody who's here, joining us live, watching us live, and maybe in the future also. And also thank you Halina, Dagmara, I don't know if you say it. Okay, Mihaela, Saida, and of course Laleh for saying yes to this party.
Thank you for the ask. And guys, I have one question. Okay. Acknowledgement is one of the greatest gifts for creating greater and more consciousness. So what futures did we just generate, create, change, and actualize that is now available to be chosen? It's now available to be claimed, owned, and acknowledged. And anything that doesn't allow that, would you guys be willing to destroy and then create it?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pumpak on nice shorts, boys and yans. It's a new world. And we get to create new possibilities. We have to acknowledge all of what got created and changed. And when we do, it freaking expands. So how does it get even better than that? Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we see you guys soon, okay? Bye, guys.
Bye.
Ciao.